What's the deal, y'all? It's Kali the One. We are back with another episode, man. If you're watching this, make sure you like, subscribe, share, run me up, get me in the algorithm. Also, if you're watching this, please go head over to the Viral Way podcast, tap in with us, like, share, subscribe, keep us in the algorithm, man. We just want to keep the movement moving, and you guys can definitely help us do that. Without further ado, I want to get right into the news for the week. As you guys know, there's been an ongoing feud between Drake and Kendrick, probably the biggest rap beef that we've had in a long time. Drake just yesterday dropped, news just came out that Drake filed a lawsuit against UMG for pretty much using illegal practices to go ahead and push Not Like Us to the forefront while then putting him behind. He accused them of using bots as well as the pay to play methods, even going as far as firing people that were in Drake's corner in UMG. So then he also dropped a second lawsuit, and my apologies. Let me give a correction. They're not lawsuits. It's just the legal action. It's kind of like a prerequisite to, if there's enough information, then a lawsuit will be carried out. However, right now it's still in the pre-phases, so it's not a lawsuit at this point in time. I do want to point that out. The second lawsuit is for defamation of character. Pretty much Drake is saying that, or accusing UMG of saying, or accusing UMG, my apologies, of knowing that Kendrick Lamar was going to accuse him of being a pedophile, and they did not stop it. And the ways that they could have stopped it was telling him to edit it or not dropping it. And they did neither. They let him drop that. And Drake is accusing them of doing that so that they can get a lot of revenue, due to this beef, which has been the biggest thing. I think it's the biggest beef at this point. I don't think Ether and Takeover and all that. I don't think that even compares to this at this point in time. We just seen a diss track go number one. We're seeing a diss track be performed at the Super Bowl. We're seeing one of the top rappers that's been on the top of the charts for 15 years go ahead and sue this guy over these songs. Will sue the record label over these songs. So this is, to me, way out of here compared to Takeover and Nas's Ether, beef. This is a whole nother level. But I do want to get into the specific lawsuits and kind of break them down a little bit more so that we can see exactly what goes on. So let me pull those up for us. My bad. Here we go. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let me put it like this because I like to look like that. Yeah. So let me go ahead and take a look into this, y'all. Okay. So as you see, he's accusing them of gaming the system to artificially inflate his avowed rival's most recent diss track, in which Lamar accuses the former child star of being a certified pedophile, which we did talk about. So there's that part. He's saying that they use the network of bots in conjunction with the so-called pay-to-play scheme to manipulate and saturate the streaming services and airwaves with Lamar's smash hit song Not Like Us, all to Drake's detriment. So Drake is accusing that they use bots and a pay-to-play method to push this song Not Like Us to the forefront, which, within the song calling him a pedophile is going to hurt Drake's legacy. Let's keep going. Let's see here. And so there's also another accusation that they paid Apple to have Siri play Not Like Us if people were to ask to play Cry Lover Boy. I did see videos of that happening. I don't know if those are AI, don't know how true it is, but I did see that out there. So if that is true, then hey, I mean, he deserves what he's getting for that, right? Let's see here. And I did tell you guys about him terminating employees. Let's see here. They're not going to respond. I just want to scroll through it a little bit more to see if there's anything else I can give you guys before I really give my breakdown and my point on it. Okay, now this is key. UMG was one of Spotify's earliest supporters, inking a multi-global or multi-year global licensing agreement with the streaming giant in 2020. Drake's court filing states it cites UMG's financial reporting, which showed some 2.3 billion in earnings from Spotify in 2023, accounting for nearly 20% of the label's revenues. So Spotify and those streams, that's a big deal, and that brings in a lot of UMG's revenue, almost a quarter of their revenue. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal. Let's see here. Okay, another key part: UMG charged Spotify 30% less than its usual licensing rates in exchange for Spotify pushing recommendations for Not Like Us to users who are searching for other unrelated songs and artists. So pretty much, as you guys just heard on the first lawsuit, he's accusing them of using all these different methods to push Not Like Us to the forefront. How do I feel about it when it comes to Drake? I think even if there's some credence to what Drake is saying, he killed his legacy forever, right? And maybe not forever, but he's blacklisted forever after this for sure when it comes to hip hop and when it comes to the labels. The reason why he's blacklisted forever when it comes to the labels will be because you just got dissed. You just got washed. He stepped on your song that you went and you could tell you put a lot of work into, right? He did call you a pedophile, but overall, he washed you on every single track Kendrick Lamar did. You dropped the Heart Part 6 as your last song, and you pretty much bow out and say, oh, this shit is getting weird. I knew he was going to pull the Epstein angle, et cetera, et cetera. I'm too good for this. I'm out of here. That was a cop out because you knew that you had lost the beef. Fast forward, Kendrick gets the Super Bowl. You're still sending cryptic messages and, posting things online and wearing certain shirts to go ahead and I guess it'd be a fuck you to the West Coast and to Kendrick Lamar, even though you already lost. So it's over with to begin with. So you're continuing to do these petty things at this point in time, months after the beef. Now it comes out, right? Squabble Up comes out, GNX comes out, and now you want to drop a lawsuit or you want to file a legal action towards Kendrick Lamar or towards UMG for propping up Kendrick Lamar. Rap fans and your rap peers are going to look at this as weak because pretty much what you did was when the tough got going and when you got beat up, you went and told. When you had too many niggas on you and you started to get scared, you ran to the police pretty much and you snitched. That's what this is looking like. And unfortunately, this is something that Kendrick pointed out in his songs is that you're not from the culture. And even if there's some label battles that you have, Drake, you have to understand that rap fans and your rap peers, they don't give a fuck about that. They don't care about that. They care about the art form. And you doing this is proving Kendrick further right and further correct that you're not a part of the culture. You got that white in you because you went and you ran to the feds, quote unquote, when tough got going. And even the way that you're filing legal action against UMG, but it still has to do with Kendrick. So you can sit up here and say, and they tried to clean that up in the articles, oh, well, he's not filing against Kendrick. He's filing against UMG. But it has to do with Kendrick. You're saying that another artist, benefited artificially from the label, and that was to your detriment. So even if you're going at the label, this guy is a byfactor and a casualty of that. So now what you're doing is pretty much saying that, hey, how Kendrick Lamar got that success and ultimately how he won that beef was staged. It's not real. So you damn near pulling a Donald Trump when he lost the election to Joe Biden. This is what you damn near doing. You lost, take your L. Trying to come back and file a legal action against the label to go ahead and say, hey, you guys artificially propped him up. People are going to look at you like, bro, you lost. Take an L. This is crazy, and this is another level of petty. A whole nother level of petty, and I don't think that your rap peers and rap fans will be able to look past this. This is like, we've never seen this in a beef before, ever. And I think for Drake to do this will harm his career for a long time because most people do not, in these types of instances, you're going against a label, you're not going to come out on top anyway. but you sacrificed your credibility. You sacrificed your name really and your reputation right now by doing that. Because if you would have just took the L, it would have been all good. But months later to come out and file this legal action or try to start filing a legal action against UMG, saying that they pretty much gave Kendrick the W, is nuts, bro. And you're going to be judged for that. And in my opinion, you shouldn't do any more beefs, because let this be a message to any other rapper that wants to spar with Drake. If you take it too far, if you do what rap beef is really supposed to do, he's going to try to come and get you and tarnish your name in a way that is going to be on paper. Like, he's trying to do it on paper, not even just for street cred. He wants to put it on paper that this is not a real W for Kendrick. This is like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Devin Haney over here trying to sue Ryan Garcia. He might have took a little something, but he still knocked you the fuck out. You still lost. And that's another part of why I don't think his rap peers and rap fans will give a fuck about this, and why it doesn't really have any credence is because Drake, these same things that you're accusing Kendrick of having on his side, you probably have on your side, knowingly or unknowingly. The same illegal practices that UMG and Spotify, supposedly contributed for Kendrick, they did for you as well. I'm sure. Look at 2018 with Scorpion. Look at how you were set up for that. Look at Views, how you were set up for that. One Dance Controller, you was on the front of Apple when you hit browse. You was everywhere on every playlist for multiple albums. So people are looking at you like, so it's okay when you benefit from it, but not when we do. And that's another thing that's a part. And this is where that disconnect of the culture is. It's making it look more true, because it's okay for you to do it. It's okay for you to use the perks and cheat and to get ahead. But when somebody else does it and it's at your demise, then it's not okay. Even though you were running around the head of UMG or Lucian's, prized possession, shitting on everybody for years. But now that it's not in your favor, you want lawsuits. Your rap fans are not going to deal with that. I don't think they're going to respect that. I think you had a point in time. Thug got out of jail. You gave him $1 million. I think people respected that. You had the No Face song. You had some hate with that, but you had people saying, okay, this wasn't bad. You had Thug mentioning you and Future on Twitter saying, let's make music again. So I think you're at a point right now in your career where if you would have just rolled it out a little bit longer, you would have got out of this. You would have been able to come back out and show face maybe in a couple more months. Now with the lawsuits, capiche. I think you're done. I think anybody that wanted to collab with you, that was looking, to throw you a life vest, is probably like, nah, I can't even do it at this point, because you're not only pretty much accusing the hottest rapper of lying, you're accusing the label. And this is another thing, like Lucian Grange and Elliot Grange own a third or over a third of the music market. That's 35%. A lot of these people that you're going to want to collab with, they might be on UMG. They might not be able to do it now. Even if you're on it, hey, stay away from him. Yeah, I don't want to fuck my chili up. I see he's beefing with the label I'm on. I don't want to fuck my chili up, even though maybe UMG hasn't said nothing. You just know that they're watching and looking at these kinds of things. So I'm not going to take no chances. So he could have shot himself in the foot right now and burnt every bridge he had just trying to call out Kendrick Lamar. Now, why he's going to lose and why it's not going to matter for the label is because the label is going to say exactly what I just said. These same practices that you're calling illegal, quote unquote, are not illegal. This is what we did for you and multiple other artists or other artists. Look at Bundles. We had Tyler Creator winning a Grammy for Flower Boy. That was off of Bundles. Look at some of the numbers. GNX is doing Bundles. We've had certain different deals. So labels have always pushed their prized artists to be successful. They've always pushed their prize artists to be successful, whether that be bundling, whether that be promotion, advertising, whatever it is, whatever practices they use, they've always done that. And you benefited from that. So I think the labels are well within the realm of legality when it comes to how Kendrick Lamar benefited, because they've all benefited the same exact way. It just depends on who you are. Are you up next or are you not? Is it you next or is it not? Whoever's got the gun, the smoking gun at the point in time is gonna get the attention. That's just what it is. And I think Drake is he's meeting his demise right now, and it has a lot to do with ego. Ego, I think, is Drake's biggest contributor to his demise. He's almost like Scarface in this instance, to me, in my opinion. And I want to explain how. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the other lawsuit so that we could go ahead and look at this one, because this is where it's just like the first one though, and I want to get back to the first one. The reason, just real quick, what I can say is that outside of that though, we know the labels and radio and streaming services are ripping off artists. We 100% know that, right? We know that there's a lot of favoritism and shady things at play, whether that be rituals, whether that be signing your name on a dotted line. You have no idea, your 360 deal, production deals and independent deals and all these different things that we get fucked over on. We know that that's a thing. So there is another way to look at this. Like there's looking at it from the way of, okay, rap fans and peers aren't going to fuck with Drake, and then the label's not going to fuck with him. Drake is low key on some big shit for this. There's also the other way of he's low key. If this is true, then I mean somebody has to bite the bullet, unfortunately, but it shines a light on the labels in a big way that it never has before. And really, the last person who could have shined a light on the labels and had this much leverage was Michael Jackson. Let's keep it 100. So there's no other artist since MJ besides Drake that's able to say something and people be like, oh shit, it's law. Even though UMG and Spotify is declining the comment and taking it easy and all that, they're scared and they're scurrying and they're trying to tie up certain loose ends because there is some shit in their garden, regardless if it has to do with the Drake and Not Like Us or not. There's illegal things and there's cheating ways going on within those organizations for certain people to succeed. That's just the game. The game is the game. So we know that. Now, even though we know it, it doesn't mean that we can prove it. And Drake, being the top artist for this many years and being Lucian Elliott's most prized possession, he probably has the most power out of anybody. Before him, maybe Jay-Z. But Drake has the most power out of anybody to go ahead and shine a light on Elliott and Lucian and possibly take them down, which wouldn't be a bad idea. You talk about how they've even think about Elliott and Lucian, how Elliott's got out of here. Lucian is now the head. They've consolidated businesses into bigger businesses. They've laid A&Rs off and other executives and production people within labels. Unfortunately, people who are brown and black people, mostly. So there's some negative things. And who's to say that with that mass laying off of record execs and label people, that some people in there weren't on Drake's team, which would give credence to the situation of him saying that they tried to fire people that, was looking out for him and putting a good word in for him. So it's definitely a possibility of this going on. You've seen the collapse of the labels. You're seeing how they're buying up all the market. You've seen the weird practices that they do at Atlantic, which was under UMG, right? You've seen that. Lehor Conan, you've seen what they do. So these labels are okay with the beef and the drama, and they might actually egg it on so they can get revenue on the back end. That's not far-fetched to say, y'all. So we do have to, while this is crazy for Drake, oh, Drake, you're a king and doing this, blah, 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 blah. We looking at him like, you're supposed to just shut up because he's Drake. But he's still himself, and he's still within the industry and has a voice, if need be, to go ahead and put it against these people because they've been wreaking havoc on people in the industry for as long as they've been around. These deals have been shitty. Production deals have been shitty. People aren't getting as much as they should. You get what I'm saying? And then when you look at streaming, if I'm making this much money and I got to give you 80% and I'm only making cents on a dollar, I'm walking away with nothing and I'm slaving. Unless you're like Drake or Travis Scott, who never comes off tour. Drake just announced another tour on XQC Stream for Australia. Like, these guys never come off tour because the money doesn't, the label money doesn't pay them. They have the backing, but really what they're doing, what the labels are doing is all the money that you could be making, that all the money that you can see on paper, because there's more that you don't even know about once you get to a certain level. And I'm sure Drake's at that level. But there's money that you're seeing, and what they're doing with that money is they're taking that money and putting it up for your production, supposedly, and your advertisement, and you putting it into the machine to push you. So all of that is pretty much 80 to 90% of your funds are going into that. And then you get left with the rest. If you don't tour, you're fucked. If you have a random occurrence like COVID, you're fucked. What can you do? Can't tour. So Drake doing this, it could be looked at as a pussy move, and I think majority of people will look at it that way, me included. But also you have to have that other viewpoint of it, of what he's saying and accusing him of, or UMG of, is not far-fetched, y'all. And if I'm an artist, and I'm the biggest artist, I could see him wanting to play that game or catch that fade with UMG, because he has the ability out of everybody to do it. So I could definitely see it happening. The second lawsuit, here's the second lawsuit. So this lawsuit, let's read it a little bit. He filed second action against UMG, alleging defamation over Kendrick Lamar's false song, right? The day after filing an action in New York that we just spoke about, this one is in Texas, pay-to-play scheme to promote the song on the radio. So this has to do with iHeartRadio, pretty much them paying iHeartRadio to put this song in the airwaves, you know, hour to hour, day to day, just all around going crazy, right? Let's see here. This one is pretty simple. That's really all it is, saying that you know, they knew that the song was harmful and they still put it out. They paid iHeartRadio to you know, put the song everywhere. Same shit, different day. Drake doesn't realize that his ego's gotten too big. And I'm gonna get back to what I said about him being Scarface. He's intoxicated with wealth and fame at this point, to where he can't fathom it. He doesn't realize that his time is done. And I think that when you sit at the top for that long, you don't understand that. I think it was kind of like Lil Wayne as well. Like, you're at the top, so you can't really tell when there's somebody else coming up there, or when they finally taking your place, because you still got the money, you still got the notoriety. You're living in a bubble where you're number one. So it's not far-fetched for you to feel this way and not realize that you're not it anymore. And I feel like Drake is having a hard time realizing he's not it anymore. He's been on a decline, I would say, music-wise, since Scorpion. I love Scorpion. I like both sides, if that's what you want to call it. The rap side, the melody side. I liked it all. I didn't like CLB. I didn't like Scary. All that other stuff that came after Scorpion in 2018 to me became more immature. You already heard hints of immaturity in Scorpion with Ratchet Happy Birthday and songs like that, right? Kiki, Do You Love Me? You already started to see the immaturity come into play with Drake, starting around 2018. I just think that he doesn't realize that he's not it anymore. And also, he doesn't realize that even though you've been Lucien and Elliot's most prized possession, that doesn't mean that you can't get taken out. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you can't get too greedy. It's like Franklin and Teddy. Franklin thought he was going to be able to make a deal with the CIA and actually get out of that shit alive. Whatever fucked up sick deal Drake made with UMG, he thought, because he was Drake and he's the biggest artist ever, and he's getting paid the most, and Lucian's letting him do whatever and say whatever and dictate certain things, that ultimately he would be powerful enough to avoid what's going to come, which is somebody else comes along and you're not anymore. Whether that be they beat you in a battle or they just do better than you. And I think he's at a point where he thinks, man, I got enough leverage. Fuck these motherfuckers. Let me sue them. You're not bigger than the program. You're not bigger than the labels. That little Spotify shit you're talking about only accounts for a quarter of the label's money and income. You're only one person. While you're big and you're valuable, you've only been around for 15. They've been around for 100. You ain't even been around a quarter of the time they've been around. So playing against the labels is like playing against the feds. It's very unlikely that you come out and you win. Look at Kanye West. That's somebody he should look at. Kanye West tried to play ball. JP Morgan Chase clipped him. Adidas clipped him. He's still doing shows in all these weird ass places, but he ain't never been the same. Let's keep it 100. He has never been the same. They got doctors giving him gas. This is all off of going at the labels and going at the fashion industry and going at all of these people. That's what you get when you do that. Nobody wins who goes against these big guys. So I think Drake is at the point, like I said, he's intoxicated with fame and success, and he thinks because they have him up there and they fed him those lies of, "Ooh, we'd never do that to you. You don't seen us chip him and him, but we would never do that to you. We would never just throw you out like you were nothing, Drake." It's not true. It's not true. And now you're next up on a chopping block and you can't believe it. And instead of going out tastefully, you want to send lawsuits at everybody. It ain't gonna work. And putting a label and defaming the label's character because you are big and you do have leverage, that just makes them want to say even more, okay, make sure this guy doesn't get another hit. Okay, you want to fuck around and put some eyes on the methods, make sure this guy never gets another hit ever again. Make sure nobody on UMG collabs with him. Make sure he's blackballed at the Grammys. Like they have the ability to do all of this stuff. Make sure that pedal shit sticks a little more. You see what happened with Mike when he wanted his masters. He wanted his bread from them. So this is all a possibility going up against the label, and I think his head is so big that he thinks he can actually take the label on. I give him some kudos for trying it, but I don't think it at the end of the day is for the betterment of the artist. I think it's for the betterment of him, and that's why ultimately he'll fail. Because this is selfish. This isn't a David and Goliath. He's not trying to protect his people. He's just trying to protect him. You know, it's all to say he won. It's all to say he's the best, and he's still the best. But at this point in time, he's just not. And that's okay. Kendrick has been closely in your shadow, you know, and some people will say he is better than you, but I say from a mainstream point of view, he's been closely in your shadow since Good Kid, Mad City dropped. Really crept up during Damn. So right now, this is just his time. You got to let him have it. But playing ball with the labels like this might get you shelved forever. So we'll see what continues to happen. We'll see if these lawsuits or these legal actions go any further than this. We'll see if UMG comes out and says anything else besides what they say. We'll see if Spotify responds. But until now, we sit back and wait. Drake, I think you should have bowed out gracefully. But, I mean, at this point, you're just shooting yourself in the leg and you're making it worse for yourself. That's really what you're doing.